Several protesters on Tuesday night are still calling on Cheektowaga Town Council to make some changes.
I am asking that the town board draft a resolution in support of the New York for All Act, S 2235/A3506, which prohibits state and local resources from being used to carry out a cruel and inhumane federal deportation agenda.
This is such an extraordinarily small percentage of everything that we do. We are not actively engaged in trying to enforce immigration law.
Captain Jeffrey Schmidt says he believes there's some confusion on how the Cheektowaga Police Department operates. Last night, more than 20 people shared their concerns over ICE during the public comment section of a Cheektowaga Town Board meeting. He says Cheektowaga police officers do not attempt to identify immigrants or make any effort to deport them.
Occasionally they will be in our town doing immigration operations on their own, but we're not in support of those operations. We don't plan them. We're not with them. We are certainly not going out into our community trying to identify people with a different color skin or who speak a different language for the purpose of deportation. All of those things are false.
We're not sending the police department to do the federal government's job in terms of immigration enforcement. Our officers aren't masking up and covering their names and throwing all their training by the wayside.
We have all different types of cultures that make up our roughly 90,000 residents, and we are constantly trying to engage with those different groups in order to bridge cultural divides so that we can be together as one community.
The Seneca Nation sits on sovereign land, yet some members are now concerned about ICE activity both on and off territory. President Seneca says they're taking steps to protect members and make sure that tribal rights are respected. The heightened concern comes as tribal leaders in Minnesota say ICE has detained several Native Americans, including 3 tribal members in Minneapolis. President Seneca says there have been no reported issues between ICE agents and Seneca Nation members here in Western New York, though he notes some ICE activity did occur on sovereign land, for which ICE has apologized. He adds that he's been in contact with the Department of Homeland Security, ICE representatives in Buffalo, and Congressman Nick Langworthy, who have all assured him that Native people and land will not be targeted.
The Seneca Nation is not targeted here in this region, and so that's a good thing. But again, we travel a lot. We have family and friends that live across the border in other territories, and so we have to make sure that we do whatever we can to protect ourselves.
President Seneca says their tribal IDs are officially recognized by Homeland Security, TSA, and airlines, ensuring that members can travel and identify themselves without issue. It's also worth noting that no outside government agency can enter Seneca Nation territory without providing documentation 72 hours in advance and getting authorization from the president. On your side, Alyssa Clausel, Channel 2 News.
There's a lot of rules you need to know about when living in the city of Buffalo. Rule number 1 is it snows in the city of Buffalo. Rule number 2 is the mayor of Buffalo can't do anything about rule number 1. 15 days into his tenure as Buffalo's 64th mayor, Sean Ryan is facing his first somewhat significant winter challenge, a snowstorm that, according to Storm Team 2, dumped more than 6 inches in about 24 hours. As you can see in this video from his Instagram page, Mayor Ryan toured the Broadway Barns and DPW dispatch today and issued a press release saying that the, quote, city passes first major snowfall test of 2026. So, did they? I hit the streets in the best way I could. Perhaps you remember my affinity for signs. This one saying, talk to TV's Nate Benson about the snowy roads. And I'll be honest, it was a bit chilly and finding people to talk was a bit tough. Am I rethinking some life choices at the moment? Possibly. Almost definitely, yeah. How are the roads? Are they okay? We have the thumbs up of approval from an NFTA bus driver saying the roads seem to be better under the Ryan administration. Hopefully nobody slides through the intersection and hits me. Although workman's comp could be, good. Eventually, Malik saw my sign, turned around, and came over to chat. What's your grade for the Ryan administration? How are the roads today?
The roads seem pretty bad. As I was coming up from South Buffalo, a couple accidents, not gonna lie. But it seemed that everybody's still getting home safe.
Would we declare victory over the snowy roads?
Today? No. Tomorrow morning? Yes.
And some of the comments from social media aren't super supportive of the claim by the Ryan administration that they passed their own test. But what does passing even mean? What is the definition of success, in the eyes of the city of Buffalo to say that you've passed the test?
So in my mind, it starts with life and safety. So making sure we're making that first pass, that was our goal in this storm. Everything's accessible for police, for fire, and then we'll go back and we'll clean it up, get it to the curb line. So to me, it's life and safety is success, making sure we're on top of it from the get-go.
You've been around DPW for a while, under many administrations. What was different this time around where you think you're able to say you guys passed with flying colors?
A couple things. Planning on this one was big. We were pre-salting before the snow even hit. So now you get the plowing, but you also get the salt working from the bottom of the road, working its way up. Aside from that, mechanics, drivers, our staff really did a great job coming into this season.
But nothing has drastically changed from a policy standpoint in the 2 weeks Ryan has been the mayor. And Nolan Skipper was the interim commissioner under former acting mayor Chris Scanlon and filed the current snow plan that his office is implementing with the Common Council last year. And while no one will argue that roads need to be cleared enough in order to ensure first responders can safely traverse down any street in Buffalo, residents likely have the expectation that when a plow comes down, the road will actually be cleared. Should they have that expectation? Is it reasonable to expect the city of Buffalo streets are going to be down to bare pavement?
I think we've done a really good job this year on the mains and secondaries. I mean, I've heard just people coming from the suburbs they're impressed this year with the fact that we are down the pavement in some cases. We also run a different plow system. We have wheels on our plows. Some of the suburbs, the county, they're bare pavement. So there is some differences there that takes us a little bit more time sometimes to get fully down to the pavement.
One of the campaign promises that Sean Ryan made was that he wants to hire more plow drivers. I asked the DPW commissioner about that, and he says that's something that will be on the table next season. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Their argument that Humboldt Parkway once constituted parklands was only part of what brought them to Rochester.
Your Honor, we have a second claim under the Green Amendment.
Added to the state constitution in 2022, it guarantees New Yorkers the right to clean air, water, and a healthful environment. And the plaintiffs claim the continued existence of the Kensington and its potentially deleterious health effects on nearby residents violates it.
So the Green Amendment, which preserves the rights of the people to clean air and a healthful environment, is properly invoked.
But presiding Justice Steve Lindley expressed skepticism about the language in the state's Green Amendment.
It just seems so vague as to be unenforceable.
And its use in this case as a courtroom cudgel.
That the Green Amendment could be argued on either side of any project. Like you could have opponents of filling in Kensington Parkway, raise the Green Amendment, people live in the area, and they're talking about, well, now all those traffic, 175,000 vehicles every day, they're going to be coming through our neighborhoods, and that's going to pollute our air.
A sentiment echoed by an assistant state attorney general arguing on behalf of the DOT.
Closing the Kensington Expressway would result in the diversion to surface streets of 75,000 vehicles per day, causing massive gridlock, increased air pollution, and dangerous conditions for pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists in the surrounding communities.
And as far as the Green Act itself?
Nothing in the text or history of the Green Amendment requires the state to abandon its obligation to maintain the Kensington Expressway.
National Grid says they're going to be swapping out the old meters for these smart meters starting this month in the city of Buffalo. They have 121,000 customers in total, so they expect it to take at least this year and probably stretch into next year. Customers will be contacted by National Grid, have an appointment time scheduled, and then have either a National Grid employee or a partner organization come to their house, swap out their meter. I spoke with Dave Bertola, a spokesperson for National Grid, about how that process will work and why National Grid is doing this.
We've been using the same type of meter setup and data collection process for about 25 years. We are replacing meters with robust smart meters that can allow customers to make informed decisions about their energy use. As an example, you'll be able to get 15-minute intervals, you'll be able to see your energy use online. You've been contacted by us 60 days before your installation date, 30 days before your installation date, and 10 days. If a customer wants to opt out, we've had a less than a 1% opt-out rate statewide. If you want to opt out, we will still need to come down your street to read that meter. It's somewhere between $15 and $16 per month that will be added to your bill. We know customers are concerned. These meters will allow you to do more They'll allow you to track your energy, make informed decisions about your energy use, and for us it can help to improve the response time.
The city of Buffalo is far from the first community in upstate New York to have these new smart meters installed. National Grid has already put in about 1 million of them. They say that these new features will help customers track their electricity usage in real time, and say that an app allowing you to do that from your phone, wherever you are, will be coming in the near future. Reporting on your side in Buffalo, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
In Albany this afternoon, Governor Hochul talked about her plans to make childcare more affordable, to make it so that 3D printers cannot print illegal guns. And she also talked about putting safety measures in place to make it safer for kids online. After banning cell phones in schools bell to bell, the governor's now proposing new protections for social media users under 18. As part of the plan, the governor wants to create a new office called Digit, the Office of Digital Innovation, Governance, Integrity, and Trust. The agency would be responsible for creating new online safety measures and enforcing them. The governor says she is already working on certain demands for social media companies.
Let's block direct messages from would-be child predators, number one. Let's disable AI chatbots that can cause serious mental health problems. Let's block location sharing. Why should they know where our kids are? And let's do more to cut off access to online sports gaming so our kids are not ensnared by addiction at a young age.
New tonight at 6, we'll show you what the governor had to say today about cracking down on ghost guns. On your side in Buffalo, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
People should be able to, represent their community. My staff should be able to go and do their job without having to deal with issues like this.
The issues, according to U.S. Representative Nick Langworthy, are what he describes as multiple credible threats of violence against him and his staff members, which led him to close down his congressional office in downtown Jamestown. He referenced last year's shooting attacks on Democratic state lawmakers in Minnesota.
Things have to be taken seriously, though. We saw what happened in Minnesota where multiple elected officials were shot in their own homes. This hasn't been an uncommon occurrence for me to have a police presence at my house, unfortunately.
Langworthy says U.S. Capitol Police, who recently opened a new specific investigative office to focus on such threat cases, are now working with local police to find the source of this threat. 24th District Representative Claudia Tenney also temporarily closed some of her congressional offices last winter because of threats and intimidation against staff. And a suspect was arrested in 2021 for throwing a brick through the window of a Corning office for former Congressman Tom Reed. U.S. Capitol Police report that since 2017, threat assessment cases against members of Congress, their families, and staffers climbed significantly and really shot up in 2025 with 14,000 such cases, a 48% increase over 2024. The January 6 Capitol incident and recent elections may have spurred those threats. Members of Congress and their staffers also trained on security awareness, and armed officers and local police sometimes seen at their public appearances.
We have to turn down the volume and turn down the temperature. We have a public dialogue. This is America. You're free to protest. You can disagree. You can, do so in a very public way. That is what the First Amendment's all about. You can't threaten violence.
You have decided that it's time to leave the political structure in Albany. Why are you retiring?
Well, I came to the conclusion, Claudine, I turned 80 in September. I have 2 young grandchildren. I have family.
He says it's time.
And the atmosphere in Albany has changed tremendously, and it continues to change. And that sense of bipartisanship is not there anymore.
He was specific.
It's more about personal partisanships and agendas as opposed for the good of the people. And so it becomes difficult to continue in that atmosphere.
Assemblyman Morinello was elected in 2016 to represent parts of Erie and Niagara counties. Before that, he was a judge in Niagara Falls. When asked about his time in Albany,
my constituent services is what I feel is the hallmark of my time in Albany.
He may be retiring, but plans to remain active with a focus.
Revitalizing downtown Niagara Falls, One thing I want to do, and I've been working with a group, is to keep the Aerospace Museum in Niagara Falls.
What is your message to your colleagues in the state legislature?
Don't forget your local district. Do not forget those that voted for you to put you there. And do not let political rhetoric take away from what your focus should be.
He has given his support to Rebecca Whittish to be his successor, but it will be up to voters.
She's got a good handle and a pulse on the community. She worries about her community.
Well, the word in the courtroom today was betrayal, as 55-year-old Bonnie Bova from Lancaster was sentenced for stealing almost $2 million from Highgate Medical Group. Bova worked there for many years, and they say that she admitted to stealing $1.8 million from the medical practice over the course of 7 years. And in a letter that was written and read in the courtroom by the partners at Highgate Medical Group, they said that they're actually alleging that they think she took even more, but because of bank records, they can only prove that she stole $1.8 million. We spoke to the Highgate Medical Group's attorneys today, and they tell us that they're happy.
Obviously, whenever a situation occurs like this, there are two things that the victim wants at all times. That is justice and accountability. And in this case, a prison sentence is justice, and a guilty plea is accountability.
Bova was sentenced to an indeterminate amount of years in prison, with the minimum being 2 2/3 years and the maximum being 8. We spoke to the district attorney, Michael Kane, today, and he says that this sends a clear message.
Well, I hope the message is that, the people that are interested in, stealing from their employers should think twice about it, because she's going to state prison for more than 2 years, maybe as much as 8 years. And this is a 55-year-old woman who's never had a criminal history in her life. She's got no criminal record. That's not going to be easy for her.
Bova was inconsolable from the time that we walked into the courtroom and until she walked out in cuffs. Now, she has already paid $600,000 back in restitution. She also came with another $3,000 today. She'll have to pay back that full $1.8 million. And then there's also paying back the state for the fact that she didn't claim any of that $1.8 million on her taxes, and that's almost $100,000 to the state as well. But again, she'll be spending at least 2 2/3 years in state prison. On your side at County Hall, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
January is peak return season.
We like to call it Returnuary this month because there's so much online shopping that happens, so many gifts that were given that maybe aren't working out. This is definitely like our Super Bowl.
Now a new app launched here in Buffalo is trying to make it easier to get refunds without ever leaving home.
So we are a mobile app. We sync with your email. We organize all of your online shopping. We remind you when your items are due for return. And then we created a partnership with DoorDash so we can come to your home, pick up your items and take it back to like UPS or FedEx.
Snapback Returns was founded by Alexis Jones, who now calls Western New York home with her husband, Buffalo Bills defensive tackle Daquan Jones, and their 2 children.
So this is our 4th year in Buffalo. Came up to Bills Mafia. We love it. Love the community here.
Jones says the idea for the app came from her own experience juggling life as a new mom and missing return deadlines.
Basically, I started online shopping a lot. Amazon came to my house every single day. And then I realized, what do I do when these items just don't work out?
Snapback Returns officially launched late last year, allowing users to schedule DoorDash pickups and get real-time updates on their returns.
So we send you reminders to put your box outside, and then DoorDash actually communicates with you directly saying, hey, your package was picked up, it's dropped off, here's your copy of your receipt.
It costs about $10 per pickup, which includes up to 5 packages, and with drivers returning items to FedEx, UPS, or the post office.
The average American loses $400 a year by not returning products. So just because they hate the return process, they don't want to do it. And then about 60 to 65% of Americans will pay for convenience.
The app has about 1,000 downloads and 300 monthly users so far.
There's not much in the space that do exactly what we're doing, which is just like the most perfect time to really hit the market hard.
Report of a possible structure fire across the street from number 501 Ensley. That's between Paderewski and Broadway. Reported to be at the school.
Started second alarm right away. A heavy fire shown, first and second floor. Sounded like a little collapse happened inside already, Chief. Yeah, roger. We're giving them 30 seconds on the stairs, and we're pulling them. Chief, I think we should pull it. Bring it. There's a lot of fire up here. All companies evacuate the building.
The former St. Anne's School building is now almost unrecognizable after that massive 4-alarm fire. What's left of it now is gutted and covered in ice. Fire crews, they were battling this massive fire all night. It grew so large, so quick that it went to an immediate second alarm, and then just before midnight, it was elevated to a third alarm. And firefighters, they evacuated the building and got it under control just a little before 4 a.m. It took over 100 firefighters to get to that point. And in recent years, this building was deteriorating and shuttered, but it was once a Catholic school for many East Side residents who may now never see it restored to its glory.
It's just a shame. I was just wondering how it bumped like that.
What's their interest in preserving the building? Do they have insurance? We don't know any of those questions, and that'll certainly factor into the decision of whether the building will be demolished or maintained.
The city said they were still in the process of figuring out who the current owner of this building is. We know that according to county records, this property was sold to Buffalo Crescent Holdings in 2022, but the city says that ownership transferred hands within this week, and now they are not exactly sure if that transfer went through. The city also noted that they are still investigating the cause of this fire. It's important to note also that the St. Anne's Church building itself is still standing, had not caught on fire. It's just the school building behind here. On your side, Alyssa Clausell, Channel 2 News.